Well, this is the biggest thing I've ever picked up.
Hey, two-wheeled friends, it's Shadow Day. Today I want to talk a little bit about identifying some road hazards. For some of you new riders, or for those who are thinking of riding, I felt this was a topic that should be kind of on everybody's mind. So let's roll the brief intro and we will get right into it. Today I am out on my 2007 Honda Shadow Spirit 750. It's a C2 model, so this baby is a shaft-driven model. I thought that it would be a good opportunity to kind of talk to all of you about some of the road hazards that we need to watch for while we're out riding. And here's one of them right here. The sewer cover. Those can be slippery. There's a rock. So there was a rock in the turn. This camera died. So I'm going to be on one camera. So as a rider, you always have to be looking forward. You got to be looking around, identifying all the hazards. Obviously a trash can on the edge of the road's a hazard. We're not going to talk about those hazards. We're going to specifically talk about the hazards that are on the road. And I have a little bin at home that I have a bunch of my road finds in. So if I'm riding along, other than like the obvious dips like that manhole cover or sewer cover or whatever you want to refer to it as, those can be pretty slippery when it's wet. Even the striping on the road that they put down can be rather slick, wet or dry. So those are all little things to watch for, and I'll talk about that more coming up here. But I have a bin at home, and I will show you this bin at the end of a lot of the little things that I have picked up over the course of the past few years of me riding. So whether I'm riding on a motorcycle or I am riding in my cage, if I see something dangerous on the road, I will either stop and pick it up or turn around and pick it up. There was a bolt that Mrs.TWOWHEELD and I saw a couple weeks ago. Actually, she saw it. I didn't see it. It was more in her lane. It was after going over some railroad tracks, and it was like a bolt with a pin somebody was using. I don't know if it was to hook a trailer or what it was for, but I went with my Jeep to get gas and the gas cans for the lawnmower, and I actually went out of my way to go pick that bolt up. So I look at it as if it got run over by a truck or a vehicle in front of a motorcyclist and it come up and hit them in the head, because not everybody rides with the helmet, and even if you do, it could still be enough to hurt you, knock you off your bike, catch you in the neck, you know, any of that stuff. So here's something on the road. This is a little block of wood. This isn't anything that's going to be a huge deal, but that's an example of a hazard. There's some other hazards there laying on the road. Obviously we have these big hazards with tires. But these stripes right here, they can be a big hazard. And a lot of times when I'm going through the intersections, I will try to drive between those crosswalk markings just because I know that they can be a little slippery. And I really wish this camera didn't die. One of my most interesting finds is a 10mm wrench that I stopped at a stoplight in my Jeep and saw it when I was pulling up, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I actually put it in park, hopped out, grabbed it, and took it off the road. So I'm always looking for nails, bolts, sharp objects, anything that could cut a tire, whether it's a motorcycle tire or a car tire. And rocks, because the last thing you want to do is hit a rock when you're on two wheels. We'll turn and go this way because I'm sure there's going to be some hazards. I probably didn't have to downshift first. There's a pothole. Hazard. So you probably get the hint of what I mean by identifying these road hazards. This crack in the road right here, that's a hazard, because if you get your wheel in that, you're gonna feel it. It's gonna make you all squirrely, and I have actually witnessed that before. Kind of a scary feeling, especially if you have any speed. Tar snakes. So it's that time of the year, springtime, they're starting to put tar in all these cracks in the roads. Those get pretty dangerous too. Sand and gravel. So like right here where these trucks come in and out of this iron and metal place, that can be rather slippery. Oh, there's a big sunken spot in the railroad track that I didn't see. There, I went around that gravel. But I'm always looking for those shiny things too. Like right now I'm seeing a bunch of shiny, which it's a lot of times it's just the rock and the concrete. So let's see, what else? What was another big hazard? Yeah, I mean, look at how dirty this road is. So look at all that dirt along here. So if I was going to make a right-hand turn right here, knowing how dirty this is, I would definitely slow down. See, I missed that hazard. I hit a small little pothole because I was looking at this rock. You know, another big one, not going to notice it quite as much on this road, but like on some of your major roads, the lane position 2, where vehicles will drip their condensation or oil or whatever it is. That's another big one, because you got to put your foot down, and when you're entering that intersection to stop, well, I guess you're not in the intersection, but when you're arriving to it, you just want to make sure you are watching where you're going to put your foot down. Make sure you're not putting it down in a pothole or gravel or oil or something like that. But look, like, I'm not going to stop and pick all this debris up. A lot of it looked like garbage, but there's a lot of it. So I've been riding now. This is going to be my 5th season. I think early on I did a video similar to this, talking about identifying some road hazards and what to watch for. And I felt like it was something important to do again with being on this Honda Shadow. Being, you know, I kind of put this Honda Shadow out there and portray it as a beginner motorcycle. Not only because I learned on it, but Mrs.TWOWHEELD learned on it. This intersection's always weird. Look at this. Hazards. Haven't been this way for a little while. So after riding now for into my 5th year, you kind of get the feel, even like after the first couple weeks of riding. I'll put it this way, once you kind of get comfortable with your throttle, your braking, all of your typical motorcycle functions, then it seems like you start watching more for those other items. And I think it's important to watch for them from day one, because you obviously don't want to get off to a bad start with riding and, you know, and hit a big pothole and bust a wheel or pop a tire, or, you know, jam the handlebars back at you and wreck the bike type thing. So I'm looking at this camera as if it's on. That's so disappointing. I usually like to look at you two-wheeled friends, so if this is your first video, I usually like to have a rear-facing camera just so I can talk to all of you. I'm just taking my long way to work, and I think I'm gonna avoid this intersection. So if I remember right, that's gravel. So we'll just cut across here to this other road. So for those of you who have been riding for an amount of time, what's some other road hazards that you have come across? Drop your comment down below of some things that you have experienced on the road. I mean, how about like big pieces of tire? So when you're traveling on the interstate, that's a big common thing. Let's hear yours down below. Let's help some of these new riders in the group out. And teach them a little bit of what obstacles we need to watch for as motorcyclists.
So let's take a look at some of my road finds. So I got this cool little Twizzlers container, and here's just a few of the little finds that I have picked up. Now that 10mm wrench I mentioned to you, that's still in my Jeep, but I mean, a flathead screwdriver, got this spring, big bolt, you know, little things like this that you can just tell have been rolling around for a while. I mean, when you find stuff like this, you're like, okay, well, how bad of day is somebody really gonna have? And then, I mean, this is probably the biggest thing. Well, this is the biggest thing I've ever picked up, like a wheel cover, I'm guessing, of some sort. But yeah, I mean, just screws and nails, and I think I got a couple other nails inside my Jeep too, but that block of wood that I picked up, that's still in my pocket. So there's a few things that haven't made it in here, but just thought I'd share. These are all little things that I do my part to get them off the road, and why not just keep a little stash of them? I think it's kind of cool. Hopefully my camera's picking it all up, but you get the hint. Okay. Enjoy the rest of the video. Unless it's done, then peace out.